You ready for this?
Gonna be fun.
You will not stand in my way.
Frostborn. Hunger. This pleases me.
I do not fear you, mortal.
Your soul shall be mine.
Don't make me laugh.
Needs a brew? Oh, I do. Feel a shredding, baby. Let the battle begin.
So hello and welcome to the 5th episode of Trollin HGC. Here's the Storm podcast focused on esports, a member of the Trolls.gg podcast network. I'm your host, LiQuid, and I'm joined today by a slightly different looking Bahgz. Yet again, Bahgz has to work tonight, but he will be back next week. So Bacon actually agreed to stand in for him again. How's it going, man?
Oh, same intro as the last episode.
Yeah, man. Yeah, same intro. I try not to change too much because then I get all confused in the head. Got to keep it flowing,
right.
man. Keep it flowing.
Episode 5 and already reusing content, huh?
You know, I blame Daz for that. Like, we're 36 episodes into the Nexus Trolls, and it's basically been the same intro for like the 32 of the 36 shows I've done with him so far. So like, it's just, I don't know, man. It's just drilled into my head. Like, this is how we do. So
No, he's definitely consistent.
Yeah.
He likes to keep it professional.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so I'm just gonna, I got two things I'm gonna throw off at the top. Well, three really. Thank you for joining me again. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Also, if you want to support the show in any way, head over to patreon.com/TrollsGG. We share that with the Nexus Trolls, and just, you know, easy way to help us try and do things to give back to the community. And then lastly, I know this is going to be like shooting myself in the foot, but if you don't have tickets to BlizzCon and you're looking for them and you're watching this live, 10 o'clock tonight, so 27 and a half minutes, you'll be able to go after that that last set of tickets that they're releasing. So, you know, try and check those out if you want to go. We're going to go, all the trolls are going. Are you going?
Oh, yeah, pretty much all the game push is going.
Yeah, so I mean, like, we're gonna have a lot of podcasters out there hanging out, watching HGC. I told Daz I'm pretty much planning on just sitting in front of the HGC stage like the entire weekend, except if I have to leave, and then I'm gonna tag out with someone to keep that seat, because I plan on like grabbing prime seating. Like, gates are gonna open, everybody's going to the main stage to like check out the, you know, the opening ceremony. Nah, man, I'm going straight to the HGC stage. I'm picking out some good seats, and I'm hoping they're gonna stream the opening ceremony on the TV, you know, on the big screen that's in there, so I can chill and like have the good seats. If not, well, that's okay. I'm really there to see HGC, so I'm okay with missing that stuff.
Hey, you know what we need to do is like team up as a group and get like maybe Heroes Power together and get like 30 podcasters just sectioned off.
Just take the whole
one of the
section.
prime areas and just have
Right?
like 4 podcasters sitting in 4 corners and just denying everyone from
Yeah, just be
going
like,
into
no,
that row.
are you a podcaster? Do you have your con before the storm passer? No? All right, you can't get in. Sorry.
Oh, shit.
That'd be pretty funny. We may have to look at doing something like that. I may reach out to Lashes and see what we can do, because I know there's a lot of podcasters going. I know Bahgz is going, and I think his boy is too. So like, there's a lot of podcasters going to be out there, and a lot of them really like HGC, right? So I could see us actually, maybe not 30 chairs, but I could totally see us getting like a section and being like, this is the podcasting section. So yeah,
a lot of bodies we can bully into.
Right. Right. So anyway,
Sitting in spots.
definitely get tickets though. It's gonna be fun. I think a lot of people are gonna show up, and you know, I'm looking forward to this. Will be my first BlizzCon. My wife and I have talked about going like a number of times over the last 8 years or so. But This is the first time I'm going, so I'm super excited.
Me too. It's all gonna be first. I can't wait to experience it.
Yeah, I'm so excited. All right, so let's jump into some news.
Yeah.
This was kind of more big news like 2 weeks ago, right after our last show that we did 2 weeks ago. But I actually got stuck at work last week. Bahgz was out, so we did not do the show last week. So some of you may know this, some of you may not know this. It's cool. We're going to go over it anyway. China working with Blizzard. So China Gold League working with Blizzard has completely revamped how HGC China is being played. It's basically...
Yeah. No more heroes. It's all King of Glory
right?
matches.
Like everybody quit heroes, and so like, which shows in their standings when we get down to their standings. Like, holy crap, some shit got real there. But basically, so the old gold league is now HGC, and it's just straight up double robbing group stage. Everybody's playing each other over 5 weeks, 2 game sets. You either get points or you don't, and it is what it is, man. If you want to win, you got to be in, or if you want to qualify, you got to be in one of those top 3 spots. Otherwise, you are not going to any of the international tournaments. So, you know, I kind of, I get it, and I'm not upset with it. It's basically the same thing, only they're playing, you know, best of 2s instead of best of 5s, which like lets them run through a whole lot of games in a short period of time, or a whole lot of series, right? Still same point system, still, you know, a good system. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, it's almost like the staff watched mid-season brawl, like, hey, what the hell, they're doing this system, why can't we do it? So they send like an angry email over to Blizzard saying, can we, whatchamacallit, borrow this system, please?
Right.
And give it a try.
I like it.
I can understand it because when you go into a series, you're either thinking this series is going to either last 1 hour, 1.5 hours, or it's going to last 3 hours, just depending on how many games the set is going to go to.
Right.
And it does seem like it is more interesting just based on the 2, you know, game system. It's easier to manage in terms of handling the times and scheduling the matches, and you get like interesting drafts because of the just out of 2 system.
Right. Yeah.
You don't have to like do the standard drafting system when you're in a best of 5 situation.
No, it's like go big or go home, right? You have 2 matches.
Yeah.
You're either getting points or you're not. So let's make or break for it.
And it plays perfectly into China's, you know, strengths, where they like to cheese a lot and do weird strats. So you get to see more of that.
I do appreciate it for that. I definitely appreciate it for the timing. The scheduling of it kind of sucks, right? Because it's like middle of the day work day for me. I still try to watch it most of the day. My boss has gotten used to me having HGC on one of my monitors. I don't always pay as close to attention as I should be to the games. You know, I actually try to work, but it's usually up on the screen. So I like it for that. I can't tell you the number of times, man. It's like I start watching Korea when I get up in the morning, because I've given up on the I'm going to wake up at 4 in the morning and watch Korea live. I get up whenever I get up on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I start Korea at that point, so I'll go to Twitch, and I go all the way back to the beginning, and I start Korea and watch Korea the whole way through. I usually end that right about the time Europe starts. Start Europe, watch all the way through Europe, watch all the way through NA, and the next thing I know, it's 11 o'clock, and I've done my whole Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, because we're playing these long best of 5s. Where,
damn,
if instead we would just do the best of 2s, right? It'd be like bam, 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 and we'd be done much faster. So I kind of hope Blizzard takes this note and maybe looks at adopting it for EU, NA, and Korea. I think it would be nice. I mean, Korea is the next logical step. Their fans being very similar in temperament and like game. I'm not even sure how to explain what I'm trying to say, but you know what I mean. Like they're both looking for kind of that same thing out of the game, right? So
yep.
You know,
it's very similar to the GSO where, you know,
right,
this system borrows from, so it wouldn't be foreign to them.
Exactly. So, but I did catch this game and I was like, holy crap. And then Tetra tweeted it out and I was like, yeah, because I thought I saw the time, but I was like, I just knew it was fast. The game started, I did something at work, and the next thing I know, the game was over. CE defeated Wukong Gaming in 5 minutes and 40 seconds.
Yeah, CE's the team that missed out on the mid-season brawl, right?
Yes, they had visa issues, and so SPT went instead. And they, they're out with a vengeance. They are #1 right now, and they are like, no, man, visa issues or no, we're going to continue to dominate. But that, 540 is now the new HGC record, and that's crazy to me. Like, what, you know?
Yeah, I mean, you're just playing around with it. It's like they watch mid-season brawl, and they're like, oh, we can't go, but this is at least what we can do. Try to get the world record.
Right, exactly.
540.
So, yeah, it was crazy how fast it was.
It was on Brax's holdout, right? I believe with a Sylvanas push.
It was. So yeah. It was crazy.
So,
It was crazy how fast it was. Just updating.
so it's such a slap in the face of Wukong Gaming. I feel bad for them.
Well, I do too, right? Because it's like, oh man, really? Like that's always the question. Like, how do you deal with that? So I feel bad for them. Just like I felt bad when Fnatic was chasing. Was it Fnatic or Dig? Whichever one of them was chasing it, I felt
Fnatic,
bad. Yeah, I felt bad for the same. It was
against the Super
Perfect team, right? And it's like, dude, really? Like you're gonna chase this right in front of, and like in an HGC match. Like I get that the HGC match may not be, critical for you, but you're gonna like do this now on the stage. Like really? Like at least in group play, it's group play.
At least with Fnatic and Super Perfect Team, they're two different regions, and after this event's over, they go back their separate ways. But this is like, hey, we're doing this against Wukong Gaming, and then the next scrim block is like, hey, what's up with that?
Right,
like,
right.
What the hell, bros?
Right. No, all right. It was crazy. I don't know. Part of me is impressed at a 5-minute and 40 game, right? Like that's like I've seen some fast games, but damn.
What's the fastest game you've had?
That I've had against humans was 9-something.
Against humans.
Well, right. I mean, like think about it. In AI games, you can get it down into like the 7-minute range without too much of a hassle, just based on like whoever you have with you. But
you can with Sylvanas and a proper push strat, you can get like 3-minute games sometimes, like 350 or something.
Right, yeah. If you go into it with like a full strat, you can definitely do it in sub 4 minutes. But against humans, only like 9-ish, somewhere in that area. I think I might have broke the sub 9-minute once, but certainly not less than 6. Like that's crazy.
Yeah.
So
against some of the best players too. I mean, I think I've gotten like a 6-minute victory here or there, but that's against like, I would stack, full Masters players on my team, and then I would get matched up against like old people on Team League.
Yeah, I mean,
it used to be like that.
In those situations, I could totally see that happening. But like these are 2 pro teams, and Wukong is not bad. They're not great, but I certainly don't think they're a losing sub 6-minute team. So to me, that was kind of just crazy all around. Honestly. So something else.
Congrats, CE.
Right? Total bonus to them, and now everybody's going to be chasing that at the Western and Eastern Clash. Like, how do we get sub 540? I mean, the question is, does Blizzard think they need to make changes because of that, or are they just like, nah, it's cool, we'll leave it how it is? That's the real question.
I think they would leave it how it is.
I agree, they probably will. So, Stukov PTR patch. Now, I'm not going to dig into Stukov. I think Stukov is going to do some weird stuff to the meta, and maybe we'll talk a little bit more about him next week. But the reason I care about this right now is there's some banners and sprays that are in there for HGC teams. And to me, that's really a cool thing, right? Like, they needed to, there was no reason for them not to do that.
Yep.
And so, we link to it in the show notes, but there's a Mighty banner and a No Tomorrow spray, I think, if I remember correctly, that was posted on Reddit. And, hopefully we can buy those with gems, not just craft them. And the reason I say that is I'd like to see Blizzard start, much like selling the mount, send that money back to the team, the little hexagon mount.
Exactly.
Help them out, right? Like, I get that they're getting a salary now, and that's awesome and all that, but like, can we send them more, right? Like, if Roll20 had a spray that I can only craft with, or I can only buy with gems, I would buy that with gems because I want to support that team, and sending them that 85 cents or whatever it works out to be in gem money, like if everybody buys it, all of a sudden that's a good chunk of money. And if not, then okay, well, that sucks. But like, I would appreciate that. I don't know. What do you think? You think they should be looking at something like that, Blizzard?
I mean, in the history of them doing this, it's been kind of poor. Like, they would have a mount for every BlizzCon champion, and like they'd send like $2 or $3 per mount sold over to the team, and you know, it's funny too. Like every time there's a BlizzCon champion and they get a mount, they end up disbanding or something. So,
well, you know, I want to
yeah.
touch on that for a minute though. Fnatic got no mount.
Yeah, I mean, it's
brawl,
mid-season brawl, like
Blizzard,
mid-season brawl
what?
champions.
Like,
yeah, what's
really?
going on with that?
Like, how is that a thing? Like, how? Blizzard, really? How? But yeah, no mount there. Like, that blew my mind.
Like, you have the top 2 teams from each region meeting over the period of 10 days, and they become the champion. I mean,
right?
What the hell?
Like, how is there no mount? All right. Anyway, I'm sorry. So yeah, they don't have a great track record. And then I don't know if you caught this this week, but Jay Street from South America or Latin America? I think it's Latin America, actually. I could have that completely wrong. Like, it's all starting to run together in my head. There's so many teams I'm following now. They haven't received, like, any of their winnings for the last 3 major tournaments, all the way back to Western Clash. So he tweets about it. And in fairness, MilkFat was like, hey, dude, how about you email me instead of tweeting about it and starting drama? But at the same time, to your point, like, is Blizzard not getting payments out the way they should? And like, now
they have an entire team dedicated to this, and they're a large corporation. It's not like money's an issue.
No, this isn't like rocket science, right? And then, but then I also wonder, well, does that mean that like salaries aren't going out? Because that could be problematic. But none of the major region teams have said anything about that. That doesn't mean it isn't a problem. That just means they haven't said anything. But it's kind of like, you know,
if that's actually true, the shitstorm that's gonna happen on the subreddit and the community,
right?
You know, blowback on that. I don't think they would risk anything like that. But let's going back to the banners and sprays for the teams. Do you think this is going to be enough? Like, we don't know any of the details on how they're going to be selling it. Is it just going to be included in the loot box like normal? Or are they going to have, you know, packages where you can buy a Roll20 team package or something like that? So we don't know anything about the details on how they're going to release it. But it'd be nice if we could buy it with gems.
And, well, I agree. What I'm worried about is, like you said, or exactly like you said, that it's just going to be a loot box item. And if it's just a loot box item, like, none of that money is going to make it to any of those teams. J Street, another good example. I would pay for to buy their spray or their mount. I'm totally going blank on the team, and I actually feel really bad about that right now. So I'm going to go ahead and head over to masterleague.net, who I talk about every week, and I feel like maybe I should like work with them to get a sponsorship deal in place. And you know, right? And like check out where he is, because I'm feeling real bad about that right now. The Red Canids. Red Canids. There you go. And it is LATAM, so I was right. It's Latin America. You know, I would buy. They actually had a cool logo, right? So I could totally see buying a hexagon mount of theirs, or buying the spray, or even the banner. Because quite honestly, I hate all of the banners that Blizzard has in game right now.
Really, the Zerg banner is pretty sweet.
I dislike all of them, and I just in protest, the only thing I use is the the Heroes 2-year anniversary one.
Really?
Yes. I feel a little bad about it, but that's my
personal silent protest going on.
Yep. That's my little silent protest going on. So I only use that one, but I would totally use theirs, or use Roll20s, or even GFEs, like 100%. I would definitely use theirs if I knew the money was going to them. Right? Like, exactly.
And it's not very hard for Blizzard to do it, I imagine. The logo and the work's already there. You just need to copy and paste the thing.
Right. So, no, I agree. So we'll have to see how that works out. All right. So let's jump into some results, because
do it.
You know, the title of this episode is Phase 2 What? And I got to be honest, like, I've been scratching my head all since this weekend with like, dude, what is going on with Phase 2? Like, this is crazy. But I like some highlights that I picked up. Team Expert beating Zealots. Okay, Zealots, you can say one, or, you know, maybe they win, maybe they don't, coming out of Open Division. But then also Dignitas. Like, what? Like,
yeah.
Dig lost to Expert? What? How is that a thing? Like, They were just at mid-season brawl and finished 2, and they lost to Team Expert. Like, what?
I wonder what's going on. Maybe Team Expert just prepared well, and Team Dignitas were just like, oh, it's another easy win, and then we'll just coast by.
Maybe, but then you look at Tempo Storm over in NA. They lost to GFE. Okay, you can give that one 50-50, right? GFE was looking good. Yeah. They made a change, and it looks to be working out for them. But then Tempo Storm lost to No Tomorrow, and you're just like...
And No Tomorrow's number 2 right now.
Right? And you're just like, what's going... What? Like, what? Just like, what? So then, to make it even better, MVP Black 3-0'd L5? Okay.
What's going... It's not about MVP Black. MVP Black has a Rich, so we know how that's gonna go. They're gonna be number 1, no problem, because I'm a Rich fanboy. But
3-0
with L5?
3-0? I'm like, all right. I had MVP Black winning that out in MasterLeague.net challenge, right? I 100%. I had MVP Black beating L5, but at 3-2, because typically when those two teams play, it goes 5 games. Unless one of them is just completely borked, it goes 5 games, right? And MVP Black 3-0'd, and I was like, what? I'm like, all right, it's 2-0, cool. We're setting up either the reverse sweep or the I'm going to win 2 and we're going to a game 5 setup, right? Like, that's what I was 100% expecting. No. And how on earth does L5 let Rich have mouthfeel? Like, how is that a thing? Not even just mouthfeel, but pre-nerf mouthfeel. Like, what, like...
You're talking about the Sky Temple game, right?
Yes. Like, how do you do that? Like, why would you do that?
Wipes?
Yes. I'm just like, look, I know I'm actually a Rich fanboy too. That guy, like, if you put him on a hero he's comfortable on, like, just walk away from your computer. You've lost the video game. But if you put him on a hero he's not as comfortable on, you're still probably going to get beat, and you're gonna feel it in the morning. But, like, you give him pre-nerf mouthfeel, and you're like, how did we lose? I'll tell you how you lost. You lost in draft when you let him have that. Because MVP Black's probably like, wait, really? They're going to let us have this and give it to Rich? Like, that's a thing? Like, we're really doing that? Like, but yeah. Like, what? I don't know, man. I don't know.
I think L5's issue is their new tank. Because they lost Noblesse. They drafted somebody else. I forgot what his name is, but he doesn't look too comfortable in the position. They're not gelling well. And then on top of that, Rich, his biggest problem is he didn't have a big hero pool, and he was able to be counter drafted back when he was in MVP Black,
the first time
before,
around,
last year, right?
Yep.
And he's been, like, if you watch his stream and his YouTube videos, he's been playing outside his comfort range and increasing his hero pool. So
Rich is definitely working to increase his hero pool, which is cool because that was his one weakness the first time around. 100% agree. And Hooligan is the warrior player that you're talking about now. Yeah. And yes, Hooligan doesn't seem as comfortable as Noblesse was, but like, and some of the team fights I would chalk up to Hooligan's play. But, like, he was clearly not the only issue there. Like, and everybody else... All right, I think SDE is new to the team, too, I think. I'm trying to remember. I think SDE they just got from someone else. I just don't remember who from. Let's see. Yeah, SDE came over from Mighty. So
Mighty.
Yeah, but he was still
all right.
Yeah, Mighty was all right, but it's not like he wasn't playing in HGC, right? So like, it's not like Mighty wasn't familiar with what was going on in that scene. I don't know. It's just like everything that happened in phase 2 has been really, really weird. Daz has a question for you in chat about how Rich's bathwater has been tasting recently. So, I mean,
minty. What a hint of lime. It's seasoned very well. Yeah.
I don't know what you two have cooked up, but
no, it's a running joke. It's a running gag on the Game Push God that every episode I have to mention something about Rich, which is pretty much true. I have to get in a little Rich gag.
I mean.
And praise him somehow, and I like his bathwater apparently.
Like, do people outside of us just not watch his Twitch clips or him on Twitch or his performance this weekend in HGC? Like,
Exactly. I mean, if you go on Reddit, there's like a rich highlight play
Right.
on at the top of the hero subreddit every day. So it's like, how can you
Like,
not?
how
love
can
the
you
dude?
not love Rich? Rich is excellent.
He's got those cute little Korean chubby cheeks that you can.
Dude, he did. They flashed to him. And I'm like, oh my god, you just want to like squeeze his cheeks, man.
Yeah. Squeeze his cheeks while he's 1v5ing with Malta.
Right?
Yeah.
All right, so let's go over the standings real quick because I'm not going to go through all the results. The HGC Korea, NA, and EU results, really super easy to find. We did link the HGC China results in the show notes so you can check those out. But right now in China, we have CE number 1, Super Perfect Team number 2, and actually right behind Super Perfect Team is eStar. I know I don't have it in here, but I happened to be looking at it earlier. You know, kind of how I expected it to shake out. CE would have done well had they gone to Mid-Season Brawl, but because of visa problems, they didn't go, and Super Perfect Team got the trip instead. And I think actually that made Super Perfect Team a better team for when they went back to China, honestly.
You think so?
I do. I absolutely do. I don't think they are where they need to be yet. So I think if today we went to Eastern Clash and it was CE Super Perfect Team and eStar against Mighty Tempest and MVP Black and the minor region teams, I don't think Super Perfect Team would end up in a top 4 position. I think they would end up further down, just like they did at Mid-Season Brawl. But I think it was good for them. I think they got a lot of experience, and I think they're on the right trajectory. I think maybe at BlizzCon, if they make it to BlizzCon, they'll have a better showing. Definitely in 2018, if they survive in their current incantation or without making a lot of changes, I think they'll do good in 2018.
Yeah, but even though they're number 2, CE is by far and away the number 1. Even though Super Perfect Team's 5-0 right now, tied with CE, I don't think it's gonna last.
No, there's no question that CE is by far the best team in China. There's a large gap between number 1 and the rest of the pack in China. And then I would even say there's a decent sized gap between 2, 3 and the rest of the team after that. So I think the top 3 in China are pretty like set. And I think CE is set as number 1 for like a long time to come. Unless, I don't know, something changes in China where all of a sudden you get an influx of people because that mobile MOBA shuts down, and those guys are all like, yeah, if that shuts down and all those guys are like, well, we don't want to go League, so we might as well go HOTS. Yeah, I don't think that's gonna change. I agree.
Suddenly 80 million players are in the mobile market. I don't think that's too likely, but no. I hope HGC China stops bleeding players to that game.
I do too.
That's the current hope.
Well, and like CE shows that they're sticking around. Now hopefully they get their their visa issues fixed for both Eastern Clash and BlizzCon, because I would like to see them at BlizzCon. But we'll see how that works out. Meanwhile, over in Korea, 2 names at number 1 and number 2 I did not think I would be saying: Mighty and Tempest. So,
but to be fair, MVP Black hasn't played their 3rd game, while Tempest and Mighty have.
Right. That's fair. That's a valid point. Mighty and Tempest have both played 3 sets. MVP Black has only played 2 sets because they got that first week off. I do think that's gonna shake out a little bit more. I would not be surprised to see MVP Black and either Mighty or Tempest in 1-2. I think Mighty Tempest could go either way. I think L5 has a lot to figure out before they can get back up there. I am worried about their ability to qualify for Eastern Clash.
Me too. Even though I'm kind of writing off Tempest and Mighty, they look pretty good for what they've shown so far.
Right.
But MVP Black's going to be number 1. It's going to be a fight for the 2 and 3 position. But what do you think of MVP Miracle and what they've shown so far? They've improved. They should be improving, but
they improved a little bit. They definitely improved over where they were pre-mid-season brawl.
You think so?
Yes. That phase 1 to phase 2, they've improved a little. They have not improved enough. And here's my problem with MVP Miracle. Okay. If I'm in a sports organization and I own 2 teams like that in the same league, one of them will always be better than the other, because I'm always going to put my It's BlizzCon time, people, if you're looking for tickets. All right, so back to my thought. I will always put my best players on the team that's better positioned to do the best, right? Like, I'll always funnel the majority of my resources into that team. Whether it's they get slightly more time with the coach, or they get slightly more time with the, like, trainer, or the mental health coach, or, like, whatever, like, the life coach. Whatever, like, every resource that you're going to throw into those two teams, Black will always get more than Miracle will. Right? That's not to say Miracle's not getting resources. That's to say the amount of resources you would have to throw at Miracle to get them into the same shape Black is almost like counterproductive, right? Like, I can spend less money on keeping Black up top than it would cost me to move Miracle up to Black, right? So it almost feels like that's the situation they're in. I could be completely wrong, right? Like, that's strictly my opinion and my point of view when you're running two teams in the same league. Now, if Miracle was a Chinese team and Black was a Korean team, completely different story. But since they're both Korean teams in the same league, competing for the same resources and the same money, I don't think Miracle will ever be what Black is.
It kind of reminds me of StarCraft's situation back in Brood War. No, it's not exactly the same situations, but there were players like Flash and Jaedong who are, by far the star players on their team.
Right.
And they would have, like, they would be the S rank players, and then they would have like B and C rank players, just be used every day for, practice, and just kind of those backup players would be constantly trying to be fighting for tournament spots while, players like Flash and Jaedong are just, at the front of the line.
Right.
Not having to qualify for anything.
Exactly. And it's kind of a similar situation, right? So it makes me wonder, like, I mean, I know what they're getting out of it, right? It's another team in HGC. They have two teams in HGC. That means they're getting salaries for both teams. They're getting exposure for both teams. There's money there, right? So I get the reason behind having both teams. I just question, like, if anything good will ever come out of it, right? Like, anything that ever says Miracle will compete with Black type good.
And when MVP Miracle looked good, right? 2 of their players were sniped into Black.
Right.
If I'm remembering correctly.
No, that's
right?
exactly what happened, and that's my point, right? If I'm running 2 teams in the same place, in the same league, right? Like, what stops me from doing that? Basically, my lower team becomes the farm team for the higher team. So I can take a risk in Miracle, right? Especially with the two roster change thing. I can see two guys in amateur HOTS or anywhere, right? I can make that trade on Miracle and say, guess what, you guys? We're kicking these 2. We're bringing these 2 in. We're going to see how it works. Wait the 3-4 months. See how they pan out. And if they're awesome, immediately swap them to Black for the next phase, right? And they're already familiar with the MVP system because they've been on Miracle for the last 4 months. And you've probably already been doing some, like, training with the Black team and those 2 players, so it's easy to just go whoop, and it's like it's basically a farm team. It's like I take it back to, like, raiding, right? When I used to do competitive raiding in WoW, we would run our normal Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday progression raid, and then we would do a Friday, Saturday, Sunday fun raid, right? And anytime we came across somebody that was new to the game or new to the guild, and they looked really good in the Friday, Saturday, Sunday raid, we were like, hey, why don't you come to the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday raid? And if they were available, we'd bench somebody and try them. And if they did better, they got that spot. Because the idea was your primary team should always be your best team. And I feel like that's the same thing that we're going to see out of Miracle and Black. So, all right.
I mean, it all seems like crazy speculation, but
right.
It'd be crazy if it came out that's what was going on behind the scenes. Like 6 months from now, after BlizzCon, there's this whole, roster apocalypse going on, and then there's a leak out of MVP Miracle.
And right, someone from MVP Miracle
it's
goes
slave-like
to Black,
conditions.
Right? They just grind us to the bone, and then as soon as they find someone awesome, they take them away from us. All right, so let's.
But I mean, like MVP Miracle. I mean. If you look at, like, Sniper, Crazy Movie, these guys are former StarCraft 2 pros. They're not just
Right.
any schlubs that was picked off Hero League. So
right. Well, and I actually like Sniper. I think some good things can come out of Sniper. It'll be interesting to see if it develops or not. But yeah, I could totally see some good things coming out of Sniper. And that was so Sniper's an interesting pickup, right? Sniper is an amateur pickup from Team No Limit into Miracle, because I'm looking at him right now, which lends credence to my thought that, hey, we think this dude might develop good. Let's pick him up and see how he does, right?
Yeah.
Kind of similar, like Judy came off of Blossom. So maybe they're expecting something out of Judy. And if they are, right, maybe that means we're going to see a change at MVP Black where, you know, maybe they replace Tist. I don't think they will, because I think they're happy with Tist. But maybe they replace Tist. Or maybe they replace Reset with Sniper, right? Like, there's lots of little things that you can do after you've run, like, a set of guys through for a couple of months and say, all right, you know what? These 2 people that we picked up, yeah, they really are that good. And, yeah, we really should make this trade. It's not that Reset will go away, right? Reset would get traded over to Miracle unless they did the weird... So Bahgz and I talked about when Korea's roster apocalypse happened, it was basically one night. They just said, boom, here's all our roster changes. And I put forward that all the Korean owners got together in a room, put up on the whiteboard who they wanted to move around, and you had this weird, like, oh, I'll take him if you can take him, and they did, like, basically, like, not a draft, but all the owners of the teams got together and decided who was going to move where. And it was just like, boom, the deal is done, right? So you could see the same thing happening with maybe Sniper and maybe to Reset, or because Rich isn't going to go off Black. If Rich leaves Black, Rich is retiring again. Rich is like, I play for Black or I don't play, right?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens in Korea. Let's jump into EU though. So EU, not really too surprised. Fnatic's #1, Team LiQuid's #2. Team LiQuid was #1 until like the 3 weeks leading up to Midseason Brawl. Then they, like, I don't know, all decided, hey, let's throw and take Midseason Brawl off. I don't know. It's the weirdest thing though. They were just like, yeah, we're gonna start losing and let Dig and Fnatic go to Midseason Brawl. It's cool. But Fnatic being #1 doesn't surprise me. Team LiQuid being #2 doesn't really surprise me either. But what does surprise me is over in NA. GFE #1, okay, that I can accept. No problem. No Tomorrow being #2.
Yeah, what's up with that?
What just happened?
Team Freedom #3, huh?
Right? Like, like, what, like, huh? How, what? I'm back to what?
And the best NA team in the Midseason Brawl is in 4th place right now. What the hell's going on?
No.
In NA.
Well, yeah, right. No, exactly. I'm sorry. I said no, but I mean, yeah, exactly. Like, how? I'm sorry. I thought for some reason I was like, Tempo's in 4th. I was thinking Tempo was over Roll 20, which was going to really break my brain. But yeah, like, I don't, like, I don't get it.
But
I don't get it.
As crazy as this, there's still justice in the world because Team Naventic and Even in Death are last place.
Right. Well,
and
Naventic I expected. Even in Death I
them,
expected, right? Like, both of those I totally expected to be in last place. Even in Death, like, if those guys aren't looking at this as just a straight up learning experience, they're doing it wrong. Like, they're not going to get out. They're going to the Crucible. I hate to say that. You guys are going back to the Crucible if you guys happen to be listening. But learn what you can so you can survive the Crucible and do this again. Right? Like,
here's the Team Naventic looked like trash all, 6 months the last season, and then they survived the Crucible just because they had good practice partners throughout the 6 months,
right?
And be able to prepare themselves for the Crucible. And
right.
Now they're just surviving and edging another 6 months, so they'll probably go to another Crucible.
But they'll probably survive that too.
Yeah, because they now have a year of scrim practice.
Right.
Even though like they're losing every single HGC match, they're still playing against some of the best teams in NA. So
I expect the same from Even in Death. Honestly, I do. And we'll see how it goes, but that's what I expect. Roll 20 being where it is surprised me, but do
you think their drafting is a little bit predictable now?
I think that's part of it. I also think that the Goku for Yoda change is severely hampering them.
Yeah.
Yoda played out of his mind at midseason brawl, and it's like, shit, what have we done? Like, you know.
And now he's in what, Superstars?
Yeah.
Undervalued.
Yeah, well, and like, yes. Superstars is underusing him, and then like, Shrey's not a warrior anymore. Arrow's the warrior, and like, Superstars broke my brain this weekend. A friend of mine, he's watching right now, Super Dave, loves Superstars, and I get that. And Superstars could be a good team. But he's like, dude,
Super Dave likes Superstars.
Right, go figure. But he's like, dude, what's going on? I'm like, I don't know. And then Trent Esports and I were going back and forth on Twitter about, you know, the simple fact that how do you not have Shrey on, I think it was Shrey, was that one? On the Warrior. And I'm like, dude, I don't know. Like, I don't get it. Oh, no, that was Tempo. That's right. That was Tempo. Okay. Hold on. I want to come back to that because that one confused me too. But, like, yeah, I didn't, like, everything Superstars did the last 2 weeks, I don't understand any of it. I'm just like, what are you guys, like, what are you doing? Like, how is this the way you guys want to play? But then, on top of that, when Tempo lost to No Tomorrow, like,
yeah,
Cattle was on a noob, and Fury was on Chen? Like, what? Like, how, what?
I mean, it's just so weird what they're doing. The only time Tempo looked good and in form was when they 3-0'd even in death, but that's just, you know, the expected.
Yeah, but it was like, it was even in death. Like, how did you not expect Tempo Storm to 3-0 even in death? Like, everybody expected Tempo Storm to 3-0 even in death. So the fact that that happened was not like, oh, they threw, you know, like, no, that was normal. Like, the whole thing's just got me, I don't know. You know what? I think I'll leave our viewers and our listeners with this. The whole thing is confusing, and I look forward to seeing how the Western Clash shakes up. Because
a bug just landed on my knee. Oh, that
did it really?
Oh, yeah. Oh my gosh.
I saw you looking down, and I was like, man, I hope everything's cool.
Man.
Nomi had qualified for the Western Clash. So Nomi is like, it's cool. We're still in this. We'll see you guys in the next international. But I don't know who's going to be at the Western Clash from NAEU at this point. I think GFE's probably pretty safe. Hell, at this point, No Tomorrow might actually be safe because No Tomorrow is sitting 3-0 right now. So, like, what? Like, okay, we'll see. We'll see. The Western Clash is going to be very interesting. The Eastern Clash is going to be very interesting. There's only another couple of weeks until that happens. Let's see here. What are we? We're in week 3 right now. There's only 2 more. It's this week and then 2 more weeks. There'll be 5 weeks of games before we go to Western Clash, Eastern Clash. So,
but here's the issue. Team No Tomorrow hasn't faced like a really tough team yet. They faced Superstars, Team Freedom. Yeah, I mean, they beat them both, but Temple Storm, I guess that was a test, but you know, they haven't played Gale Force Esports yet, so roll 20. So we never know how it's going to shake up before the clash.
So here's an interesting thing, and I'm just going to jump into kind of the what did I want to call it? My preview for this week. So I have all the games in the show notes if you guys want to look, or you can check out you know, here's the storm.com/esports. The schedule's out there, or I like to go to blizz.ly/HGC because that's easy, and like as soon as I type BLI into my computer, it's like boom, and I'm there. But I only want to highlight 2 games because I think these 2 games are going to be very telling for this week. And if you have another one, like, let me know. But and I might have to add. Actually, I think I have to add a third one because I forgot how well Mighty was doing this week, so I'm going to just go ahead and add that one real quick.
Oh, no, there's no need to highlight that. Black's going to destroy Mighty 3-0.
Well, you would think so, right? But I don't know. All right, so let's...
And minty bathwater, man.
But still has to happen. Still has to... And should be watched, because I think it'll be a good game. But Gale First Esports versus No Tomorrow on Friday. That game is going to be very telling. Both teams are 3-0 right now. I think Gale Force will beat No Tomorrow. But... that's going to help us figure out first place in NA, right?
Yeah.
The other games, you know, they're either mid card, right? Expert versus playing ducks. Okay, that'll be, you know, woohoo. LiQuiuD versus Tricked Esports. Like, come on, LiQuiuD wins that, right? You know, RRR versus MVP Black. Yep, Black smokes them. Miracle versus Raven, mid card. I mean, I'll watch them all because that's what I do. Superstars versus Freedom could be interesting, but the one game Friday that really has my attention is Gale Force Esports versus No Tomorrow.
But I think Superstars and Team Freedom is also interesting. I think, you know, with the addition of Kure.
Yeah.
Or Cure? Is
Cure.
Kure or Cure?
Cure.
Cure.
Yep.
Yeah, so with him and the team, I mean, they look stronger than ever.
I agree, and I think... All right, so, like, I decided that I was going to just pick a game a day if I could. That would be like, this is my game to watch. And for me, that's GFE No Tomorrow. But if I was going to pick a second game on Friday, Superstars Team Freedom would be that second game. Yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah.
I think that'll also be a good-ish game, and it could tell us what's going to happen in, like, the 3-4 kind of area. Or maybe even the 4-5 kind of area. But to me, the game to watch Friday is Gale Force No Tomorrow. And then Saturday's easy because it's the first game of the day. Black versus Mighty. And you can say Black is probably going to kill Mighty off. And you know what? Yeah, that's probably true. But my problem, and the reason that I think that that's the one to watch, is that's, like, Mighty's #1. And Black should be #1. But Mighty's #1 right now. So, you know, let's see what happens.
Nah, they're boosted.
I mean, first, you're probably right, and I agree, but I still think that's the game to watch and see what they do. You might see them.
They're 3-0 right now. They're 3-0
Yeah.
right now because of Miracle, RRR, and Raven.
Yeah, but they're still sitting there, right? And I get Black has only played one game, so I'm not trying to make an excuse. I'm just trying to say, like, I think that'll be fun to watch. Like, look, the other games that day, L5 versus RRR. Come on, like, L5 wins. Even L5 playing garbage wins that. Team Good Guys versus Fnatic. Look, I love BKB. He's my EU boy. I love that dude. But, like, come on, you guys aren't gonna beat Fnatic. I'm sorry. I wish you would, but you're not gonna. Like,
what if they did?
If they did, that would be a huge upset, and props to BKB. In fact, if they beat Fnatic, I'm going to do anything I can to get BKB on one of the 2 shows next week. I will. The minute that they finish beating Fnatic, I will reach out to BKB and be like, dude, I said I would do this if you guys beat Fnatic. I will, like, what's it going to take to get you on either Trollin HGCs or the Nexus Trolls? 100%. As soon as they beat them. You guys on Twitter, let me know in case I miss it. I doubt I'll miss it because I leave the TV in my office is pretty much on HGC Friday, Saturday, and Sunday all day long. So I highly doubt I'll miss it. But yeah, let me know. Sorry, throat's going dry. All right, and then, like, Zealots Dignitas. Come on, Zealots isn't winning that. Dig's got that. Neventic Tempo Storm. Tempo Storm's got that. Even in Death, Roll 20. Roll 20's got that. Like the rest of the games on Saturday feel like they're just stomps, you know, one way or the other. MVP Black versus Mighty is, like, my one holdout that maybe there's going to be a game. You know what I mean? Like, maybe we'll see, like, stiff competition. Now, to be fair, BKB's wily, so they may have a strat that Fnatic doesn't see coming, but it's a best of 5. Like, that only works 1 or 2 maps. That you like, it's hard to win a best of 5 with the cheese. You know what I mean?
Even if he's able to take it to game 5, I think that's a win.
Oh yeah, 100%. In fact, I will agree. If that goes 5 games, I will still try to get him on the show. 100%. Actually, who am I kidding? Like, I would love to have BKB on the show anyway. Like, I mean, the dude is my EU
he invites
tank
himself
warrior.
on. You're like, nah, you didn't beat Fnatic last week,
like,
so we're not gonna have you.
If BKB reached out to me at all, I'd be like, yeah, dude, come on, let's go, let's do that. Which show do you want? How long do you want? What do you want to talk about? We can do this. I will
some bathwater.
I will cater it to you. I mean, I'll only do the bathwater if it's rich. But
okay.
I will definitely move everything around for BKB. There's a couple people I would do that for. Glaurong, 100%. If Glaurong was like, yo, if you guys will do the show at like 6 and pre-tape it, I'll do it. I'd be like, all right, done. Like, when, where, Skype? Is that how you want? Like, how do you want to do this? Are you gonna be on camera, or you want me to just use your picture? Like, how do you want to do this, man? So there's a couple of people, a handful of people I would do that for, and BKB is one of them. But all right, let's jump over to Sunday. So Sunday's got a bunch of games going on, and in the vein of, you know, Superstars Team Freedom being a decent game on Friday, the game I picked to watch on Sunday, Team Freedom versus Gale Force. I think that'll be a good game. I think looking at the other games, we have Blossom L5. That's going to be another, like, L5, like, half asleep could win that. Tempest Mighty. That'll be okay, but that's kind of like that mid-card game. I'll watch it like I watch everything else, but I'm not really, like, excited about it. I'll check it out. You know, Tempest is doing all right, and Mighty's doing all right, but I think, honestly, I think after Black spanks Mighty's going to be, like, off kilter a little, and I think Tempest is just going to take that game, keeping their number 2 spot, but we'll see. Realistically, that's a good game to watch. I just think Freedom versus Gale Force is better, personally. Ducks versus Team LiQuiuD, you know, they could do some weird stuff on Ducks, but not sure they're going to pull anything off. Fnatic, Team Expert, same thing. And Tempo Storm Superstars has a possibility of being great.
Yeah.
But Superstars has to play out of their mind, and Tempo Storms has to play like they did against No Tomorrow. And let's be honest, after what just happened, I don't think that's, like, is that a thing?
Yeah, Superstars definitely has the potential to have an upset here, and because Tempo Storm's been off tempo lately.
I like that. No, that was good. I like that. All right, so those are my picks for this week. I did link the Gold Series Week 3 schedule on the show notes. Like, let's be honest, there are a ton of games since they're playing those series best of 2s, so I'm not gonna go through them and do that to you guys. But let's go over amateur stuff. All right, so Europe just finished its Cup 2 yesterday for Open Division. And in the 3rd place map, we had Run It Down beat Scheisen. These German names, man. I know I'm murdering that, but that is what it is.
No, that was perfect.
Was it? All right, cool. Beat them 2-0.
Oh, I wouldn't know.
Right? Hey, man, but you know what? You said it, so I'm going with it. So it's cool. So beat them 2-0. And then Bushido Esports for the 2nd week in a row. God. Bushido Esports.
That word was wrong. I'm quite sure about that one.
All right, so Bushido Esports for the 2nd week in a row beating Leftovers 2-1. So they are, like, solidly in the lead right now with 240 points. Number 2 is Leftovers with 145. Number 3, Run It Down with 110. Number 4, Who Am I at 110. And the reason that Scheisen isn't even listed up there right now, brand new team, made it into the 3rd place match. So kudos to them. Hopefully they will do better going forward. NA, over to NA Open Division. So
I just wanted to say Bushido Esports looking really good. I want to highlight Vortex and Lucifron.
Yes.
Who's the Flex and Warrior players on the team. They were former StarCraft 2 players. Probably some of the best Terran players that non-Koreans had to offer in StarCraft 2. So good for them to making the transition.
No,
they're doing well.
No, they're definitely doing well. And a couple weeks ago, Bahgz and I brought this team up. Bushido Esports basically said, "Hey, you know, it'd be cool. We want to get into that EU hot scene. We're gonna just take this Open Division team and sponsor them." And everybody's nice. Like, what, really? And yeah, dude, they've won 2 Open Divisions in a row. And points mean way more now than they used to in Open Division. So, like, I expect to see great things out of them. I would not be surprised. And if they can win, I think 2 more, they're automatically top 8. Like, there's no way to dethrone them at that point, right? Because if you win 4 out of the 8, you're definitely top 8, right? Like, that's... Maybe it's 5 out of the 8, like, guarantees you to be top 8. But yeah, it's it'll be interesting to see what happens with them. I try to follow the open divisions. That one's a little more difficult to follow just because it's right during like main meeting time, and I just don't have all the time to watch all the amateur matches. So I catch usually the top, the third place in the finals. Sometimes I get the semis though. So, but jumping over to NA. So NA finished Cup 1 2 weeks ago with Hold It Down beating Firm Handshake 2-0 in the semifinals, and Players Unknown beating Donkeys R Us 2-0 in the semifinals. Setting up it's a great team name. Setting up a third place match between Firm Handshake and Donkeys R Us. Firm Handshake losing 1-2, Donkeys R Us finishing them off. And it's killing me too, man. But in the finals, Players Unknown beat Hold It Down 2-1, leaving Players Unknown at the top with 120 points. Hold It Down 75. Our good friends Donkeys R Us at 50 and Firm Handshake at 30. Second NA Cup happens Monday. Should be interesting. So open division for me, the key here is to find those teams that consistently do it, right? With Blizzard's change to open division and top 8 and points actually meaning stuff now, to me, I'm super excited about that. Like, DB Smiley had a great point on Twitter right after the open division playoffs for NA this past phase, where he was like, dude, what was the point? Or no, it was even EU's, because Team Good Guys came in, I think they won the first cup they were in, which was like Cup 8, and then went to the playoffs, because that one win in that one cup was enough to make them top 16, and then they just played their way through it to win. Which
is that also how Even in Death made it too?
Yes, that is. Yeah, it is how Even in Death made it too. So like, I get it, but at the same time, like, points should mean something. So I'm happy that points now mean more, and it's interesting because there's a lot of churn in the amateur scene as people try to find what works and what doesn't work. And instead of doing things like Heroes Hype, which is actually running right now, they're only signing up for open division. And by doing so, they're making it so that they can't figure out what works before open division. And so that's a problem with the points, right? So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out and see how many teams stick around. If you look in EU, most of the teams stuck around. It was only one new team, Shizaheisen. So, yeah. I look forward to seeing how that works out. All right. Couple of last amateur things. Heroes Lounge Season 4 signups are open until July 9th. That is this Sunday. If you're in EU and you are an amateur player, go check out Heroes Lounge. Great set of guys. Great amateur scene there. Heroes Hype Tempo Storm Season 2 Week 3 is actually running right now. It's not too late to sign up for Week 4. Go sign up, get in the standings and try to make playoffs. Good set of guys over at Heroes Hype 2. And it's a good series. Haloran and the Tempo Storm coach, Kala, cast all those games on the Heroes Hype channel, so that's pretty cool. Link to the standings is in our show notes for that. And then finally, Chair League season actually not finally, because I scrolling down a little bit more, I realize I have one more thing to go over. Chair League season start this next week and run from July, I guess July 11th is actually right, not July 13th. Thursday is July 13th. So July 11th through September 14th is when that Chair League season is going to start and run. There's a Tuesday League, Thursday League, and actually starting this Friday, if you're so inclined, Friday Night Friendlies, which is a freebie. You sign up a week at a time, and you'll get cash, you get to play just like a true pickup beer league type thing where you just show up on Friday and play. So check out chairleague.com for those. Finally, I'm only going to have to talk about this for probably 2 more weeks. Bloodlust amateur qualifiers have been finished, and the finals are July 15th. Check out the standings, but that should actually be pretty cool. Buttered Toast won 2 weeks in a row. Rob Boss Can Flub won 2 weeks in a row. Man, that name kills me every time. Both teams have X-Pros on that, so go check those out too. Bloodlust, pretty cool tournament run by Arcane 8, started by Solid Jake. Looking forward to that.
So this finals is the finals to qualify for the Bloodlust.
For the amateur teams to qualify, yes. So they're going to do finals for the amateur teams, and then the amateur teams end up meeting some of the pro teams. During that bye week, I think, the bye week after the Western Clash is when the actual Bloodlust tournament happens, I think. I'd have to go double check their schedule to make sure. But I think that's how they're doing it, so yes.
Oh.
Really cool tournament. Really, I know I've given Solid Jake a hard time before, but like he does a lot of work for him and Arcane 8 for Heroes of the Storm. So, and it's a cool tournament. The idea that, you know, just like Open Division, amateur teams can play against pro teams. Like, you just have to qualify first is pretty cool. I like what he's done there. So,
yeah, there's not, outside of the HGC, there's not a lot of tournaments outside of that, so it's nice to have these, you know, I mean, lower budget, but it's fun to watch all the casters, like, you screw around for a weekend.
Yeah.
You know,
no, absolutely. Absolutely. So, all right, man. So I only put one discussion topic in here, but really there's kind of two. We
I
kind
have
of
one too if you.
that's awesome.
Write it in the show
Yeah,
notes.
no, that's all right. That's all right. Because we kind of already talked about HGC China and doing its own format back up when we were talking about HGC China. So we don't really have to discuss that. But the only thing I had was Phase 2 and what the heck is going on. But we kind of covered a little bit of that too. So I don't know if you want to dive more into that. We can dive more into Phase 2, or we can cover whatever your mysterious topic is.
Well, with the Phase 2, it's a little bit early because a lot of these, you know, rosters, you know, it's right after these roster changes, so a lot of these teams are settling into their new changes, and we don't know, are they going to get better? Are they going to get worse? We're still not sure. A lot of surprises, especially in Europe, and I just want to see, like, if MVP Black can. I mean, it's all about MVP Black because that's the main team I follow, right?
Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah.
Are they gonna stay number one? Is Rich gonna, you know, mesh well again? Because, you know, he's played with a lot of those players already.
So,
and, yeah.
Let me ask you something, because originally I would have agreed with you that, yeah, the problem here is, you know, new team members, they haven't really had a lot of time together, yada yada yada, right?
Yeah.
But if we look at Dignitas and we look at Tempo Storm, both teams that haven't made a change since January of this year for Dignitas, January of this year for Tempo Storm, nothing's changed for those teams, man. Nothing. Like, Tempo Storm nothing has changed.
And maybe that's part of the problem is they, you know, MVP Blacks also, there I go talking about MVP Black again. Back when they were so dominant, their drafts became stale. I mean, they just became predictable because, you know, you're just running the same 5-man roster, and, you know, if you're successful with that same 5-man roster, you tend to start developing habits. You can start getting read in drafts. People start knowing how you play. You just become readable. And, you know, Dignitas now, when you think about Dignitas, you think about JPL going Stitches and, you know, Malfurion play by Bakery. So there are things to expect now when you go play against these teams. And it's not like all the other teams in the league are just, you know, sitting on, how do you say it? Sitting with their hands on their asses? Or
No, resting on their laurels is, I think,
resting on their laurels.
One way
yeah.
is
that's what I meant.
Yeah. Or sitting on their hands,
and just showing up without a clue on how to draft. I mean, these guys, you know, are studying each other and are screaming against each other, trying to hide things constantly. So once you play against the same team for 6 months, I mean, you can start developing strats against that.
Yeah,
that's what I imagine.
Yeah, I mean, that's the only thing I can think of. Is maybe that's what it is. But I don't know. Like, it's not like the meta doesn't shift enough for that to be the case, right? So like if the meta constantly shifts, then does that matter? Like you're not playing the same stuff over and over and over and over, right? So
yeah, I mean that is true to a certain extent, but you know, I mean, unless a hero gets completely nerfed into the ground, then you know they tend to stick around. I mean, look at Li Ming. Li Ming's still picked, but
yeah,
you know, we kind of view our meta in Hero League kind of applying to the meta in competitive heroes, which usually it's not like Tassadar was in the HGC meta for so long, but it's not relevant at all until just recently in the Hero League meta.
Right.
And, you know, we see heroes all the time that we see in Hero League that we wouldn't see in the HGC, so it's a little bit different in terms of the changing meta. Personally, that's how I see it.
No, and I would agree with that, but I guess my point is like, even mid-season Brawl had its own kind of meta, right? Like,
yeah.
Like, Heroes Hype has its own meta. Chair League, to a lesser extent, has its own meta. Chair League was probably, out of everything that I've watched, Chair League was probably closest to Hero League and Team League right now, right?
Which would make sense based on who's, you know, playing in the Chair League. Exactly,
right? So, I feel like, you know, pros saying, that they know what another team's going to play within an extent, within reason, right?
Yeah.
Because you have like the ever-evolving meta in every tournament. And even like Phase 1 to Phase 2, we've seen a shift. Even Phase 1 Part 1 to Phase 1 Part 2, we've seen a shift, right? Blizzard keeps pushing out content patches. And this weekend, they're going to be playing on Malthiel's patch where Malthiel got nerfed, right? Yeah. So I expect Rich to still be crazy good on Malthiel, but I expect less people to pick him, right? Because maybe not. I still think he's overpowered. So I think he's probably still like first pick worthy. But they've had an additional week to get used to playing with him, maybe longer. A lot of those pros do play Hero League, and so they're playing against him in Hero League, or they're banning him in Hero League. But now they'll be playing on the patch that's currently live, so their Hero League experience translates into their pro play, things like that. So
that kind of, you know, what you're saying, that kind of goes into my little secret topic of, do you think power creep in heroes is a big issue at the moment?
Yes, God, yes. Like for real, yeah, absolutely. Okay, so let's look at what just got released. We have a super.
Should we explain what power creep is for those?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay.
Go for it.
So power creep is basically when a new hero or content comes out that is basically better than everything else that was before it. So, you know, you're playing the game, you're all fine, and then power creep happens, and the new hero, let's say Genji, is first pick, first ban worthy. And Malthael's a power creep example right now because he's first pick, first ban. And it seems like the past few heroes, it's been very heavily favored in power creep.
The one caveat I would add, I don't think Diva came out quite as strong as Malthiel did. Malthiel, oh my god, yeah. Even with the nerf, still still first pick, first ban worthy.
And it's not even just with the new heroes, it's with the reworks too. Right. You know, Uther's in the meta right now because he was recently changed, so that could count as power creep.
Yep. Stukov, dude. 100% Stukov is first pick, first ban worthy. Like, first of all, there's no way Stukov makes it to live the way he is now. If he makes it to live the way he is now, and he makes it to HGC, right, well, yeah, but like, the bug is really not. Which bug?
Oh, the bug that doubles his healing at level 1.
Yes, but even with that talent, all right. So we talked about that a little bit on the Nexus Trolls tonight. Even with that talent, which I think is actually the go-to talent at that tier, right? Even with that talent, like a solid support is going to finish that quest by like 13, right? Which means right about the time that Lucio's healing was typically coming online, Stukov's healing jumps through the roof, right?
Yeah.
So if Stukov comes out to live the way he is right now, like, he's going to be incredibly overpowered. If he makes it all the way to HGC the way he is now, forget it. That's first pick, first ban, 100%. Like, no questions asked. Now, I don't know how they're going to nerf him, but I think at some point they're going to have to nerf him. If they don't, you're like, there's power creep right there. Like 100%, that is a great example of power creep.
And we can go to another example. Like Genji right now is basically first pick, first ban in HGC and in Hero League 2. That's just how good he is. His ability to the issue is mobility, right? Mobility, or being, even if you don't have mobility, then you have so much tankiness or, you know, a protection status or other mechanics to keep you alive that it, you know, it's like Uther's armor in Guardian of Ancient Kings. Like he had 75 armor for a while. Now it's 50. Still 50 is a buttload of armor.
It's it's what has the ability to radically change the course of a battle, right? Uther's armor. How many times, I lost count of how many times we saw Rich go 1-on-4 and win this past weekend. Like, because the non-stop healing that the self-healing that Malthael has. You know,
and not to take away anything from Rich, right? I mean, obviously he's an amazing player and he's one of the world's best players. I mean, but that he was basically able to do that only because he was playing Malthael.
Right. No, 100% agree with that. But then let's say, let's look at like Genji, right? Genji is so strong because of his ability to move around the map and do a lot of damage quickly, right?
Yeah.
What are you gonna? You can't nerf his movement, and that's part of why he's so strong.
And the reason even Li Ming is still in the meta is because of her ability to reset. You know, similar with Genji. You know, he can dash around resetting everywhere, and Li Ming is also still popular just because she's able to reset.
Genji's resets, Li Ming's resets, Greymaine's resets. Uther's ability to change the battle, the field of battle with his 50 armor now. Malthael's self-healing. Stukov is another one who has a good chunk of healing, but can change the course of a battle every 20 seconds. Every 20 seconds, I can shove your healer away from you, or I can shove your tank away from you. That completely changes what that team fight is going to look like, right? And when you bring a hero into the game like that, you enable an power creep to happen, because it's not necessarily how much damage they do or how much healing they do. It's, do they change the nature of a team fight? Mosh, like old school Mosh and ETC being as powerful as he was, completely changed the nature of a team fight, right? Because he would slide in for the Mosh, and on his way in, he immediately gives everybody attack speed, hits the Mosh, which rebuffs their attack speed, and now his whole team is attacking you, what was it, like 40% faster? Like, things like that, right? And so the power creep is really around, you know, changing the face of the team fight or the map, right? If you have a super strong pusher, like pre-nerf, well, pre-rework, Sylvanas used to be way stronger as a solo lane pusher, and that's why you don't see her come out as often as she used to. She would completely change, not the team fight mechanic, but the, oh my god, if I leave her bottom lane while we rotate top middle long enough, like, we lose the game, because she just pushes the whole way through the keep, right? So,
and the issue with power creep in the hands of players like us, I mean, even if I'm a grandmaster level player, I still make a bunch of mistakes, and I'm not able to, you know, draft perfectly. I'm not able to use 100% of that character's ability. But, you know, if you give these power creep heroes into the hands of a professional player that can abuse every single mechanic that this hero can abuse, like Dahaka, for example, you know, race car Dahaka is in the meta now.
Well, and let's sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, go.
Well, I was going to say, let's be honest, right? Like, if you spent all day, every day playing HOTS because that was your job, you would have that ability, right? Like, you may not be rich level, but you certainly could, like, yeah, I could see you on one of those teams if that's all you did every day,
and
right?
And that's the issue, is because it's so hard to balance this game for both casual players like us and the professionals, because if you look at characters like Tassadar, who, they had to try to ban specifically just for the HGC because he was so abusable with his shields and lifesteal.
Right.
And now that they have tried to make Tassadar playable for the general population, now he's suddenly seen a spike in pick rate in combos like Tassadar, Vala, Ariel, the Holy Trinity, and Well,
and that's the struggle, right? Like, especially with a game like this, if you're trying to balance casual players and pro players, like, it's a really fine line to walk, right? And if you step too far one way or the other, all of a sudden it's like, okay, well, this works great for the pros, but now, Tassadar is picked first every game again. Nobody likes that. Nobody likes that at all. Bakery.
They don't even have to be that good of a hero, because look at Abathur.
Right.
And like, he has one of the lowest win rates for at our level, but he had like a over 90% win rate in the mid-season brawl.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. In fact, I literally, as you said, it was just clicking on it to go take a look and see what his win rate was here.
Yeah, it was something stupid.
It was something stupid. Let's see, can I sort it that way? Well, it was 66%. It was he went 16-8, but like some of the people that picked him didn't pick the best. Let's see, there were 300% win rates. Valera, Thrall, and Samaru all won their games. Chen was at 90%.
Oh, wow.
10-1, dude. Chen went 10-1.
And Chen is a hero that no one plays.
Right.
And he has a pretty low win rate.
Right. But 10-1. Like, if you compare the tournament statistics to HOTS logs, like, there's a huge gap, right? Even between, and this is to your point, even between pro players and Grandmaster players. Now, granted, a lot of pros are Grandmaster, right? But even between pro players and, like, not pro Grandmaster players, there's a huge chasm there. Because how many hours a day do you play HOTS?
A couple.
And how many days a week? Do you hit all 7?
Maybe 6 out of 7.
All right.
I'll play like 2 to 3 hours.
And like, you go look at their playtime, and yeah, granted, it's not all on the ladder, but like, there's pros that play 18 hours a day, right? They're on the ladder, then they're in scrims, then they're in team league, then they're on the ladder, then they go to bed.
I mean, I have some of the HGC Open Amateur people in my friends list, and they're constantly on.
Right, because that's what they're doing.
Always playing Hero League or in a custom game.
Right, that's exactly what they're doing. That right there, which is cool. Like, I support you doing that as a player. Like, that's what you have to do to make as a pro. There's a reason I'm not a pro. My reactions aren't that great. Like, I'm older, and I know I don't have what I need to, like, really be able to play at that level. But B, I also can't dedicate 14 hours a day to a game. I have a wife and kids and a mortgage I gotta pay, right? Which, totally cool. Like, I've accepted where I am, and I can talk about this game till I'm blue in the face, because that's what I like to do anyway. But pros...
Nice save on the order in which you said that, too. Wife and kids, and then mortgage.
And then mortgage.
Yeah.
But, that it is what it is, right? Like, it totally is what it is, and, that's what we do. So I get it, but yeah, no, power creep is definitely a thing and definitely an issue, and like, it'll be interesting to see who they release after Stukov, and how they nerf Stukov pre-launch, because at some point Stukov enters HGC, and it shouldn't be. Hold on, I just closed it, so I want to double check the schedule. But if I'm doing my math right, I think Stukov's coming out on Tuesday, which would be here on the 11th. So on the 25th, he should be available for play. Oh, those tricky guys over at Blizzard. That's bye week for everybody.
Interesting.
Which means the first time we'll see Stukov is at the Western Clash.
Nice.
Or No, I take that back. Looks like China is now, because they won't do it on Tuesday, which means week 6. And week 6 is the bye week for them, and then Eastern Clash. Yeah, we won't see Sukhov's first week will be Western Clash, which should give them enough time to tweak and nerf Sukhov before they hit Western Clash. But I would expect to see Sukhov playable at Western Clash if he comes out next week, or if Sukhov's out by the 18th, he should be, yeah, he'll be playable by the Western Clash.
He'll definitely be out next week for sure.
I mean, that's like if they stick with their traditional schedule, he'll be out next week.
Yeah.
So.
And this kind of issue of power creep and the amount of balance changes this game has kind of goes into a change in philosophy that the designer and balance team has had, because in StarCraft 2, which is I think the same team, right?
No, it started as the same team, but then they split it. Yeah.
But they split off. Okay.
Yeah.
But the StarCraft 2 team, their balance philosophy is usually let the player base play the game and figure it out, and let the meta develop over time. And then after a couple months of play, because I played a lot of StarCraft 2 back in the day, and after a couple months of play and just the meta shaping on its own, sometimes a meta would develop and then another meta would develop without any balance changes to counter that meta. So they would only do balance changes if there was a huge problem in the game that the players couldn't really resolve by themselves. But it seems like with the HGC and Heroes of the Storm that they have a really heavy-handed, grip on their ability to influence the meta.
I would agree.
Because look at the meta right now. It's basically all the heroes that recently had changes, patch changes in the past month.
Well, it seems like they stick closer to listening to feedback and monitoring feedback, right? Not just listening to what people are saying on Reddit or on Twitter or in the forums, but monitoring
if this game
actual
was
game
designed
results.
Based on that, this game would be awful, by the way. It would be unplayable.
It would be. But my point is that they listen to all of the data, right? Data from all three sources that we as players give them, and then also just game results, right? And I'm sure all of the game results are pulled into a data warehouse where they're running queries against it and figuring out, okay, what do we need to tweak? What looks like an issue that we need to deal with now versus what heroes need a rework that we can work on over the next 6 months. So
it's just interesting just to see how much of an influence that the patches actually do have.
Yeah.
And that in a mobile like this with so many different options of heroes to choose from, that it's very hard to let a meta develop.
Well, Go ahead.
And it just seems like a lot of band-aids are put on things instead of giving it time for it to flesh out. And I get it to a point, because it feels bad when your favorite hero is completely unplayable because of power creep hero coming in, or just a bad patch change, or the meta just making the hero feel old.
No, it absolutely does. I feel that way about Valera every day. They nerfed her too far.
No. Valera was a problem. She needed to.
See, it's so funny though when it's a hero you didn't like. Right, and this isn't directed at you, right? This is just in general, across the board. When it's a hero you don't like, it's like, no, that needed to happen because that change was desperately needed. But when it's a hero you liked, you're like, damn, man, that was my favorite hero. I still don't. I hardly play ETC, right? ETC, 100% favorite, second favorite. Diablo will probably always be my favorite tank, but ETC is my second favorite tank. And I still to this day feel like they nerfed him too far, and they need to make some changes there. But Valera is the same way. I get the stun lock was probably too much. I think they could have tweaked her differently and gotten a similar result. But if I'm gonna play,
did you try making a Reddit post about it?
No, I didn't. Maybe I should do that. No, there's too many people that are like, no, the Valera nerf needed to happen. I'd get downvoted into oblivion. Are you kidding me? Daz is still watching. Daz hated Valera in her like launch form, and that was the greatest thing ever. Even the first nerf wasn't that bad. It was the second nerf that really did her in. But if I'm like, I'm going to play a stealth character and I'm going to go hunt squishies, right? Which is like a game mode and something to be done. But if I want to go do that, and I'm looking at, do I play Valera, Zeratul, or Nova? They all have their pluses and minuses, but Zeratul has the ability to completely shape the team fight, where the other two do not as much. That I pick Zeratul every time, especially if I'm playing with somebody. Like I've started playing with my wife recently, and we were in a game, and like I would 4-man. She usually plays like Valor or something like that, but I would 4-man Void Prison, yeah. And I'd be like, all right, get ready. As soon as this pops, just nail your R, and like we're wiping all of them. And she would wait, and it would pop. I'd go in with a quick, his little AoE attack thing, his Q, his blades. I would hit that, and she'd pop off her Vala's. Man, I got to cast a game on Monday, and I'm like going blank on skill names. No, not. I mean, she would multi-shot, but then she would use her this
Rain of Vengeance.
No, the other one, the spinning one.
Strafe.
Strafe, right. Damn, I really need to like work on some skill names.
I'm usually bad at this. I'm glad I know the names so I can help you out.
I'm a mess tonight. Holy cow, I got to cast on Monday, and I'm a mess right now. But she'd W, and then she'd roll in with her vault, and then she'd pop her strafe. And man, we'd like 4-man wipe like almost instantaneously. So like in my looking at how they nerfed Valera, there's no way I would ever take Valera over Zeratul at that point, because Zeratul like completely shifts the battle on a moment's notice with his R, where Valera really doesn't. So
well, they both do the same thing of, you know, surprising somebody and ganking them,
right.
But Zeratul has so much more staying power.
Right.
Because once Valera's cloak is on cooldown, you're kind of out of luck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're screwed. So, all right. Power. I think we both agree power creep is a thing, and phase 2 is crazy. So, yeah. We are actually right on time, so that worked out good. I like that topic. That was a good topic. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, so thank you all for listening to Trollin HGC, a weekly podcast about Here's the Storm eSports, a member of the Trolls.gg podcast network. We stream live on our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/TrollsGG, every week on Wednesday, following the Nexus Trolls at 9:30 p.m. Eastern, 6:30 p.m. Pacific. Bacon, thank you for guesting a second week for me with Bahgz out. Where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitch at Bacon Hots. Now, it's a work in progress, but I'm definitely going to start streaming. But to find out when I do start streaming, you can go follow me on Twitter at Bacon Hots. It's bacon with hots. It's
two great things all in one.
Yep. The combo there. And you can find me on the Game Push Squad podcast, which is basically a podcast with filled with hosts with all different play levels. So we talk about the latest HOTS news and strategies from the different points of views of skills, and try to include everybody's input, you know, because we all realize that there's different truths at different play levels in Heroes of the Storm. So we try to get every point of view and have fun. And it's an explicit podcast, so we make a lot of dick jokes. And, you know, last episode was episode 69, so you could realize, so you know how that went.
They had fun with that episode. I will say that I had fun being on the show. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, thanks for being on.
Yeah, and B, I did not really think that I didn't put a lot of thought into how you guys do the double tier list. Where you have it like the upper end and the bottom and the lower end of the brackets, and like how people play. But then my wife started playing. I was like, you know what I'm going to use? I'm going to go use the Gank Bush tier list for her. And I've been using it. It's actually really helpful. So I can confirm that Gank Bush Squad does have players across the whole spectrum of skill types.
Bronze type.
Yeah.
Bronze type all the way to Grandmaster.
Bronze to Grandmaster, which is really cool. It makes for an interesting discussion with those guys. So definitely check out the podcast. If you don't at least check out the podcast, check out the tier list. Like, do yourself a favor. No matter where you're playing at, their tier list is actually pretty good. And even the discussion around the tier list was kind of cool. So I appreciate that. But yeah, it was a good time on the show. For me, you can follow me on Twitter at LiQuidGG, LiQiuDGG. I tweet when I'm going live. I tweet when I'm doing this show. I tweet when I'm casting games. My wife and I are actually going to start streaming when we play together once her mic gets in. Her mic was actually picking up my audio when we tried to stream on Tuesday, so that didn't work out. But follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/LiQuidGG. Or follow TrollinsGC on Twitter. That is the parent or the podcast network that both the Nexus Trolls and Trollin HGC, lots of retweets from them mostly about stuff from the two specific shows. I happen to be on both of those. So you can find us there. Thank you to all of our Patreon supporters. We do have a couple of you guys, and you guys are wonderful. We are looking to actually make some t-shirts to give away at BlizzCon this year using those patreon.com funds. You can find us at patreon.com/TrollsGG. You can subscribe to our show on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, or wherever you happen to find your podcasts online. I also upload the video to YouTube so you can watch it there. Visit our website at www.trolls.gg to watch this and past shows, along with past video streams, which can also be found on our YouTube channel, which is linked on the website. In Heroes of the Storm, if you'd like to hang out with us, please do /join /TrollsGG. There's usually some people hanging out in that channel. I see Bacon from time to time, along with the Nexus Trolls and Bahgz when he is not working. So check that out. For announcements about this show and Heroes of the Storm eSports news, follow us on Twitter at TrollinHGC. I do actually retweet a lot of eSports news, or I tweet it out from that account. Bahgz does the same, so we try to get that stuff out there. Check that Twitter account out. Finally, if you need to get in touch with us, hit us up on Twitter. That's actually the easiest way, at TrollinHGC, or email us, trollin@TrollsGG. Thank you all for another wonderful show, and have a great evening.
And
you got some? Yeah, go.
Yeah. I mean,
go, man.
This is my second time being on the show, so thanks for having me while Bahgz is stuck at work.
Yep.
But I just want to say, thanks for doing the show. I actually started the podcast because, there's a bunch of Heroes podcasts out there, and they kind of do the same thing of, covering the news and general patch notes, and no one in the Heroes podcast universe right now, or the community, is doing what you're doing, and I told you on Twitter and in your face multiple times, but you are so passionate in Heroes of the Storm eSports that it scares me sometimes. And you are a little bit crazy. But you and Bahgz have great chemistry, and I'm just glad to be a part of it for the short amount of time that I was. And I look forward to the future episodes, and thanks for taking so much time to dedicate to Heroes eSports, and it's a lot of fun.
No, man, thank you. You know what, like, so all right, we're gonna go a little bit long because I'm gonna tell a little story. So recently, Artemis Howe, who is the HR director for Heroes Hype, tweeted out that they were looking for a website admin, and I was like, you know what would be really cool? I should go do that. So I was like, hey, what are you guys like really looking for? And she answered a couple questions, and I applied. And so I'm actually one of the two website administrators now for Heroes Hype. And so I went in for my Discord interview with her and the operations director rather. And he was like, well, why do you want to do this? And I'm like, look, man, I really love esports. And he's like, well, all esports? I'm like, no, just Heroes of the Storm esports. I'm like, I tried to get into other esports. I've tried to watch League. I tried to watch StarCraft 2 back in the day. I could just never get into it, right? But Heroes of the Storm, I started playing the game, and it really clicked with me. I was at a point where I needed to stop raiding competitively in WoW, but I wanted something to do with my time. And it was a struggle with me at the time in WoW, because I felt that when I went to play World of Warcraft, I had to strive to be competitive again, and I didn't want that feeling. So Heroes Alpha had just started, and I happened to get an invite. Well, it hadn't just started, but it was still Alpha. Probably like 3 or 4 months until it hit beta. So it wasn't like real early on in Alpha, but it was still Alpha. And I started, and I was like, dude, this game is fun. Like, I'm really enjoying this. And my friends were like, well, you should go check out League then. And I tried League, and I'm like, no, that's not fun for me. Like, Heroes is fun. And so, like, I got really addicted to the game. And then I saw BlizzCon 2015, which is when 2015 when Cloud9 won. I was like, dude, like, that's awesome. Like, I got hooked, like, right away, right? And so I started following, like, every tournament. I remember watching Caldor one day for, like, 20 hours. He was casting a tournament that went, like, super long or something. Or, like, it was Caldor, and then there was another tournament, and then Caldor was on in the morning. I don't even remember. Like, it's a blur, but it was, like, from 2016. I just remember Caldor cast, like, for a super long time. And then I watched an NA tournament, and then Caldor was back on. And I was like, dude, like, at that point, my wife's like, man, you really do love this, don't you? I'm like, yeah. So, like, I really got super hooked on well, it wasn't even HGC then, right? But I got super hooked on Heroes of the Storm eSports. Then at BlizzCon 2016, they announced HGC, and I was telling all my friends, like, this is huge news. Like, this is a thing. This is going to help bring Heroes eSports even further along. And so I'm explaining all this in the Heroes Hype interview, and they're like, man, you guys, you're really, like, super passionate about this. I'm like, yeah. Like, this is the one thing that I'm like, dude, I love this. Like, this is awesome. Like, this is, like, what I want to do. And then I started doing the podcast with Daz, and Daz was like, I came to him one day, and I was like, it was after talking with you, or after he told me about you, and I was like, you know what, Daz, I'd like to start doing just an esports corner, like, real short, just a couple of, like, quick hits, like, here's what's going on in esports. And he's like, that's cool. And I'm like, so we started doing it, and then you were on the show, and it blew, and, like, you and I started talking about it, and, like, we could have went all night if Daz hadn't slowed us down.
Yeah.
Like, 100% we could have went all night. But then I realized, like, man, the esports corner is cool, but, like, what I really want to do is my own show, right? So I pitched it to him, and he's like, yeah, he's like, that's a cool idea, you should do that. And I, you know, is part of the pitch that I've always had for him, and for anybody else I talk to about this show, like, I feel like minor regions and amateur esports aren't covered enough, right? Like, everybody talks about HGC. Arcane 8, when they do, man, why am I going blank on Solid Jake's show?
Bloodlust?
No, the actual
Town Hall?
Yeah, Town Hall Heroes. They always talk about HGC, right? And, like, every other podcast out there talks about HGC a little bit, but they don't go in depth, right? Because they're trying to do, like, the big, broad, like, this is what we do. I'm like, no, man, I don't want to cover that stuff. I just want to focus on esports. Like, this is all I care about. I want to have time to talk about amateur. Like, if 100%, I know we were joking earlier about BKB and Glaurung and, like, having them on the show, but 100%, if another amateur series out there wants some airtime, hit me up. You will be on this show. And if you're not on this show, you'll be on the Nexus Trolls. Like, we've had Super Jova on once or twice on the Nexus Trolls. We're going to have them on again before Chair League starts. Hit me up. I will make sure you have a voice. Even minor region teams. Jay Shreet, I've sent him a tweet. I'm going to try and get him on one of the shows. Like, everybody talks about the HGC, like, Premier League stuff. They all talk about, you know, like, the big regions. And we do some of that here too, right? We cover China, Korea, NA, and EU. But I also said that, you know, Nomiya qualified. I watched all those games. You know, they had a close call once or twice, but they did a good job. I watched a lot of the Heroes Hype. I watched Heroes Lounge. I watched I watch all of it. And if someone was to say, hey, man, you know, we do a little tournament here. Can we get some airtime? I'd be like, yeah, come on. Tell me when you want to come on. Oh, you need to pre-record it? Let's pre-record it. Like, I just want to get more exposure to those things because I feel like that's what's missing. Even like Heroes Hype, I was telling them, you know, in order for NA pro scene to be better, NA's amateur has to be better. Like, that's what's going to drive the pro scene forward. It's the same in every other region. So even the amateur scene needs work. But yeah, I'm just really like this is my thing. And my wife's like, dude, you're crazy. And I'm like, if I had all the money in the world, in fact, that was one of the questions that the Heroes Hype guys asked me. Timbo, the operations director, goes, hey, if you could do anything what would you do? I'm like, I'd own an esports team. 100%. I've told my wife, if money was no option, I would today own an esports team, and they would be in Heroes of the Storm.
If
Now,
money was no option, you would own HGCNA.
well,
all
yeah,
8 teams.
well, yeah, all 8 teams, right? But that would be a struggle because then I'd run into the MVP Black versus Miracle situation. Like, it would be hard for me not to be like, okay, this is my best team, this is my worst team. Everybody in the middle duke it out, and you're gonna, you know, you end where you end. But I would like 100% want to own an esports team and run an esports team. They would be in Heroes, but they'd probably have to do another league so that I could afford to keep them in Heroes, right? Like, I'd probably have to have a league team so I could get some money from the league team to help pay the Heroes team. You know, the money that the owner gets, that not the team, but some of that money comes to the owner, I would just turn around and reinvest that into Heroes because, like, Heroes esports is my passion. And I was like, if I could do anything, that's what I would be doing. My wife is constantly like, you're crazy. I'm like, yeah, I probably am. But you know what? Like, this is my passion. Like, to the point where we're redoing our basement so I can have a studio just for podcasting and casting it. Like, I'm going to have a 10 by 12-ish room set up just with a desk, the computers I need, and the lighting I need for a studio. Like, just all it's going to be is a studio, dude. Like, like that's how much I love this stuff. And I don't know, man. I feel a little bit like I'm like, yeah, look at me. But, like, that's just where I am. I love this stuff. So yeah, but thank you. Like, it makes me smile and it makes me happy to know that someone somewhere sees that, like, I am that passionate about this, because I really am. And like, I met the staff for the first time in Heroes Hype, and I'm like, guys, I'm the oldest person here. And they're like, really? How old are you? I'm like, I'll be 40 in January. And they're like the whole, like, Discord just starts, like, it was crazy. And I'm like, yeah, like, I'm 40 and I'm volunteering for an organization that I'm probably old enough to be half of their parent, right? But, like, this is how you...
I could have sworn you were in your early 30s.
No, man, I turned 40 in January. But this is how you meet and you network and you break into that industry, right? I'm not looking for a full-time job there. To be honest, I'm perfectly happy with my full-time job. But I want to meet people. I want to get to know people. I want to help the scene get better. And, you know, volunteering for them and doing this podcast is how I do that. So, yeah. So, yeah, all you people out there, if you know someone on a team or know someone running a league and they need some airtime, or you think they need some exposure, or, hell, even if they just want to come and talk about their product, like maybe the Heroes Lounge guys want to talk or whatever, have them hit me up. Maybe it's an amateur team that is working on Open Division and they want to talk about, you know, how they think Open Division can be made better or what they think they're doing. Hit me up. Absolutely. Hit me up on Twitter. DMs are open,
or
man.
You can email podcast@gangpushsquad.com for this one.
No. You want to hit the place that's esports focused, and you know where that is? That's Trollin HGC.
Yeah, I have to say Gangpush Squad is very light on the esports focus because we do like to troll each other and just talk about the game.
Which is cool, right?
But, I mean,
like,
but if, you know, Fringe Average has already said multiple times, if you care about esports and want more esports content, he definitely has turned you over to Trollin HGC.
Right. No, I agree. I agree. Yeah, no, and I appreciate that, right? Because like this is where my passion is. So it definitely, if you know any of those things, or you think people, like, I have my direct messages open on Twitter specifically for this reason. Like, reach out to me on Twitter. You don't have to use the Trollin HGC. You can use @LiQuidGG. I will be happy to talk to any of them, like any teams, any managers, anything. Like, just hit me up. I already got the overlay set up for a 3-man show, so I'm ready to go. Just let me know. So, all right. But seriously, thank you for the compliment. Like, it means a lot to me. Like, it's what I'm passionate about. And Bahgz and I, like, man, we click really good, so it works out well. But
yeah, definitely.
I really appreciate you filling in, like, for real. I feel like you are definitely my go-to if Bahgz can't work. So anytime I hear he's got to work, I'm gonna be hitting you up because yeah. I enjoy having you on here, and you always come up with good ideas, like power creep being an issue in HGC. Dude, that topic was perfect, so thank you.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
Cool. All right, so I know we went a little over, but I get really passionate about this, so I think we're going to end it there, man. I already went through all my whole sign-off, so I'm probably going to clip this out and make it its own video. Why does LiQuiuD do Trollin HGC? And I'll have to see how that looks when I clip it out, but I'll probably do that. So...
It'll just be me just standing there for 5 minutes.
Just for you. Yeah, but it's like I'll lead it in there with the with the compliment first, so people aren't like, what just happened? So
why is there a Korean man just sitting there?
right.
Asian man just sitting there for 10 minutes doing nothing.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks, dude. Thanks again for being on the show. Thank you, everybody that watched. I know we went a little long because I tend to. Bacon has the unnatural ability to get me off topic, but it's something I care about, and I'll just talk. So, cool.
Yeah.
All right, man. Thanks a lot, and everybody have a good night.
Bye-bye.